G'day, everyone, and welcome to the Down Under Centre Migrating to Australia podcast. My name's Wes Sant, and today I'm joined by the amazing Lesley McDowell. So, Lesley, welcome.
Hi, Wes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for saving our clients lots of money. That's what people like to do. So it was interesting. We were just chatting just before we filmed a bit about the election and that going on in the UK, and it's sort of it's not a good time for people in finance, and it's not a good time for people in migration, I guess, when there's so many things going up in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's quite volatile at the moment. I mean, the only good thing, or one of the good things actually, when you are emigrating to Australia, obviously you're selling the pound and you're buying the Aussie dollars. So
Yeah,
actually, election year, often the pound does weaken. And then that then makes the gaps bigger, which means is why we're seeing quite, well, really strong exchange rates currently because the pound is getting weaker with election year coming up.
nice, nice, nice,
Yeah. So
nice.
good timing. Good timing if you're emigrating, to be fair.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. Well, that's what it's about. So, look, we thought we'd just we get lots of questions. Obviously, people, if you can afford to come to Australia and make the move, you're going to be transferring money. We get lots of questions from it. So,
Yeah.
you're one of our valued partners. So, yeah, you've been invited to sort of come in and have a bit of a chat and answer a few questions. How's that sound?
That's great, and also when people sort of I get introduced by Lisa to talk to me, I'm just a name on an email. So I think these podcasts are great to get a bit of sort of personality across and get to know me as a human being as well as my business to know I've genuinely got people's back with this, and it's great to have the opportunity to talk to you about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's like what we do, like the webinars and attend all the expos and run our own seminars. And then I think it's nice for clients to sort of put a face to the name as well, which is good. Obviously, there's no face to the name in podcasts, but like you get to hear the person and get to know a little bit about them. So it definitely works. I think it's that building trust, which is
Yes.
which is important. And again, that's why you're on our private Facebook group giving all that advice as well. So yeah, it all comes down to it. But look, how long have you been working in finance for?
I've been in finance for 35 plus years. I'm an old girl now, nearly about 4 years off hitting 60, which is really scary.
Wow.
But
You're looking
um,
pretty well. You're looking
oh,
younger than me at 42, that's for sure.
bless you. Now I'm 56 now. I've been doing it for 35 years. And I started off as FDs, financial directors for hotels and things like that. And I got into FX about 10, 15 years ago, but 5 years as the entity I am now. And
Yep.
the reason, and there's two of us, is Emma and I, when we come away from the big corporates, because to me, we wasn't able to look after what I call the Mr. and Mrs. Smiths of the world, actually. We was too busy working for a big corporate and having to hit targets and actually not doing right by people. So we took a huge gamble 5 years ago and set up on our own to actually work with the real people. I like working with international probate as well, actually. It's a big passion of mine when people, have to bring inheritance back from different countries. People work hard for their money. The DUC clients work hard for their money and they want to get as much money over to Australia as possible. So
I
to be able to help private individuals is a real passion of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet, and I guess that's your job, isn't it? Ours is to get them skills assessments and the visas and do all that, and yours is to save them some money so they can, get that a little bit extra when they arrive.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's guiding as well, knowing the products that they could use. It's not just about ringing me today, what's the market doing, and getting a rate. It's also actually, I know in 3 months' time, I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to have X amount of money. And I really wish I could get my 194 that it was, it was 198 back in September, for example. But we can lock in the money today in preparation for when you do get that money in 3 months' time and actually get £50,000 worth of today's rate. And it gives you peace of mind to know that actually you've locked that money in and you know exactly how much you're going to get. So it's all about, I mean, there's been some really kind comments on Facebook pages. I've been really humbled actually. Um, it's all about making people feel comfortable. You're moving your life savings, and you need that trust element. They know that I'll work with you guys, which is great. But to hear other people that have used me already, it just proves I do what I say and I look after people.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think you got to be passionate about your job. Talking about that, what's your favourite part of your job?
My favourite part of the job is actually when people that I maybe have spoken to 6 months ago, with you guys especially, and then the market has not been particularly healthy, and then they come back to me and go, right, we're ready to go now, and I go, oh my god, we're delivering well above 190, and you can hear in their voice that the timing has been perfect for them, like the stars have aligned almost. And when you can give them that good news that actually, if you'd have booked your trade 6 months ago, you would have got 178 or 182. But, because of how it's all come into place, you've got so much. We all know anything above 190, you're virtually doubling your money. So to give someone
It's
that good
huge.
news is great. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's huge, and I reckon too. If you can get over 190, that's massive. But obviously, you've got to manage expectations, which is, yeah, which I guess would always be challenging. So, I guess, why would I guess a DUC client, but any client, choose to work with you? For example, what are the benefits of moving currency with you rather than like a bank, for example?
Okay. Yeah. So just to be completely transparent, we are FCA regulated in exactly the same way as a tier one bank. And in fact, with a tier one bank, you're only insured for up to 85,000 guaranteed. And because of how we work, and we use what's called ring fenced accounts, which means I don't physically touch your money, I'm delivering it. It's unlimited protection. But so just get that clear. We're completely regulated. We couldn't do our job without it. Now, because we're an independent and we haven't got huge offices in Canary Wharf and London that need paying for, we're able to actually absorb any fees included, which means we don't charge you guys to use us. And also, then we can get really good pricing because, again, we haven't got the overheads that we have to cover, and ultimately, my clients have to cover in their exchange rates. And how a broker works in what I do is basically when you look at the charts, anybody looking at the charts, that's called the mid-market rate. And just to explain that a little bit more, it's what the banks use to compare rates around the world. It's never a deliverable rate. A deliverable is the rate that you would get as a client. It's always slightly under, and how much under is depending on how much the banks are taking. Now the banks will take 3-4% of your money, and also then add a fee on top. And a bank only has one access to what's called liquidity, the line where you go to buy currency. A bank can only has one route to do that because ultimately they do mortgages, they do loans, they do everything.
Yeah,
Whereas all I do every day is go to market for my clients and find exchange rates. So I have access to 5 lines, which means I can shop around and get the best rate possible on a day.
yeah, it's good. It's good. I guess that's what, like I said at the start, that's kind of like your job, isn't it? Saving people coin on the way. You're a bit of like Game of Thrones, aren't you? Master of coins. Is that what you would be?
You know, if the shoe fits, I'll take that one.
There you
No,
go, master of coin. No, but it is good. I love when people rock up and they convert it, and they, like a little. If you're turning over some big money as well, the difference could be, a car, for example,
yeah,
which helps.
yeah, and also, my clients here with DUC will explain. I was WhatsApping one of your clients at 6:15 this morning because they're already in Australia and a time difference. You wouldn't get it in a bank. The bank don't open their doors till 9 o'clock. So
Mm,
I'm available. All the DUC clients we set up WhatsApp groups together with both the husbands and the wives. So if one asks a question, I answer and both see it.
yeah.
Um, I want to make sure everyone's comfortable every step of the way. So that personal service, everyone's got my mobile number at the DUC. They ring me when they need to call me. Saturday, Sunday, 6 a.m. in the morning, it doesn't matter
Gee,
because
sure, nice. I turn my phone off at 6 a.m. in the morning if I get phone calls with, with people trying to contact me from all over the world.
but for me, it's really daunting. I get how daunting it is to move your life savings. And if I can answer a question that puts their mind at rest, it takes me 5 seconds to do so,
Yeah.
then that to me is providing the service.
Well, it's a word of mouth business then it becomes, isn't it? Which is good. Save money on your advertising, just word of mouth. Just it's the old thing, Leslie. Just do what you say you do on the tin. People, if every person did that, then the world would be a pretty good place. And
Yeah.
there's lots of companies that do, and it's just great. It's just nice to work with with companies that do that. So, but what are the pitfalls when people looking to move currency to Australia?
The pitfalls generally would be is to do your own homework as well as an individual. I mean, obviously, it's all well and good that we work with you guys, but the larger players, and I'm not here to badmouth anyone like Revolut. I have a Revolut card myself. I use it for my own holiday money. But what the pitfalls that people need to look out for is to be hoodwinked in what I call plain sight. So there's a certain one like Revolut, but it's not Revolut, that will offer you above market. So the market's a 192 and they would give you 193. Now, well, all DUC clients want that best exchange rate possible. And then in plain sight on the trade ticket, it will tell you there's also a £700 fee. But people don't worry about that because they've got, in their eyes, above market. But what
Yeah.
you need to remember then is what lands in Australia is already minus £700 of your own money.
Mm.
So what they haven't given you is 193. They've actually given you about 190 because they've taken money from you in plain sight. So whoever people use, and hopefully they'll allow me to help. If they don't want to use us, and I get it, we're not for everybody, of course. It's just to be mindful of those hidden fees.
Yeah. No, good point. I think it's really hard. Like I think like money, I don't know, it's such a hard thing. You earn it, you get taxed it, you got to pay it, and if if you're moving countries, you got to transfer it. It's really hard. And I think how long would you sort of say that you'd spend, chatting with a client about that? Was it like 5 minutes? Is it 20 minutes?
I think on average with the DEC clients, we have at least 3 or 4 phone calls
Okay.
um, on average. I like to talk to people really early on, and then obviously would need another refresher phone call.
How early is too early? Like when would someone, at what point of the process do you reckon would be a good idea for people to reach out to you?
I think a year out is I can lock currency in for up to a year, so
Wow.
we can talk a year out. I mean, that's quite a bit daunting for people that maybe sell a house and the house falls through. You put yourself under a bit of pressure. But I
Yeah.
always say, as soon as you've got your expression of interest in, have that phone call. But if it's a year out, then it's a year out. But just to know, you're never too early to understand your options, and
Yeah.
also to know that, I'm then in your back pocket for whenever you need to talk to me or ask questions. And then when you are ready, we've already got a bit of a relationship going that the trust is in there. They feel
Yeah.
comfortable using me. And that takes time to build up. So yeah, a year out is not a problem for me.
Yeah, I guess you got to ask the necessary questions. And when it is time to go, bang, I'm in, I want that currency. I've sold that house, or I'm about to move. Because I think with the delays in it with immigration at the moment, so many people now, and if we look at UK clients, for example, as of July, like you didn't have to do the regional work, so you find lots of people under 35, under 36 now coming over on work and holiday visas
Yeah,
that are still looking to transfer money, but they're just coming over. And then you've got lots of sponsored visas that are getting granted really quickly as well.
yeah,
So it does happen quickly. I think that's why the webinars are really good too. Like we can just sort of chat and give basic information on it. And again, we've mentioned our private Facebook group for our clients. It's good because everyone sort of can be updated, and between yourself and Will, speak to an expert, who's in there. It's just nice, isn't it?
yeah. And also getting support from each other. Your guys, your members are all in the same boat. They've all got having to say goodbye to their family. They've all got to have that nerves. I think your Facebook group is fantastic for moral support as well as physical, like myself offering services. It's a huge bonus for your members to have that in place.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, paid, visa clients. It's a good group. That was the whole purpose of setting that up, so people can communicate. It also frees up a little bit, when someone wants to talk about where's a good place to live in WA, for example, decent schools and all that. There's a trusted community that generally care for each other, and that's what's good, Lesley, by having you on board. And you've been with us a while, which is good. So, any advice you'd like to give to anyone who's looking to transfer money?
Yeah, I also I just think they advice I need to give is if there's a website called obviously all W's dailyfx.com. It's a really, really good, clear and concise website that people that want to look and to keep an eye on the rates. Do not go on xe.com, don't go on Google to search because Google gives you generic sort of flat, no, generic rate, whereas Daily FX gives you to the point where you're at. And what you can also then do is go back historically, scroll back and see how often these extremely high rates come along. Because when people, I can place a market order for someone might say to me, when you can get me 196, Lesley, I'm going to do my trade. But then you get people go, oh, I want to get two. I'm going to hang on for two. If you look back historically, I think we've hit two probably half a dozen times in 15 years. So my advice to you is to be realistic in where the market is at. And if the market is strong and you've got money to convert, don't put all your eggs in one basket and hang out for that elusive rate that actually has never come around that often. And I think
Mm.
that's my biggest advice, really.
Yeah, no, yeah, good stuff. Well, look, guys, this is a short and sharp podcast. We thought we'd get Lesley on just to run through a little bit and sort of introduce her to, I guess, the wider migration community. So, Lesley, thank you so much for joining us and for all the for all the money that you've saved our clients. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch everyone on the next one. Thanks again, Lesley.
Thanks, Wes. Thank you very much.